In this video, we'll be discussing what we here at Eon like to refer to as the main loop. TPS and the digital office at large were designed with the idea of your office's workflow in mind. Getting your patients in, getting their services rendered, accepting payment, getting them rescheduled, and then getting them out the door. Efficiency is the name of the game here, and the loop really helps accomplish that. The loop starts in the appointment book, so I'm going to go ahead and open it right now. And here we can see some patients who have already been scheduled. When you're ready to check a patient in, that is, they've arrived for their appointment, go ahead and find them here in the appointment book, and then double-click their appointment. You'll notice that all the appointment slots have turned a pinkish magenta color. This indicates that the patient has been checked in. They've arrived for their appointment, maybe they're in the waiting room for a couple more minutes because the provider's busy, or maybe they were rushed right away back to the exam room. Either way, they're here for the appointment. Another thing this accomplishes is that it prevents the patient is late message. If a patient has arrived for their appointment on time and you check them in, the message that the patient is late will not generate. Here, we were a little late checking Gail in, so the patient is late message did generate. Checking a patient in on time will prevent this. So now the patient has seen her provider, and she's ready to make her payment, get rescheduled, and then go home. Go ahead and double-click the appointment again to proceed to the next step of the loop. Here we see the services screen is opened automatically for us. Over here on the left, we can see a list of all the services entered into the program. She received a CMT 1 to 2 area, so I'm going to go ahead and double click that, and now you can see it's over here. Basic information of the service is listed on this line, such as the amount, and then the carrier portion and patient portion. In this case, the carrier is footing the entire bill. Good for them. Back over here on the left, we have a drop-down for the provider. This is the provider, when services are added, who will be associated with the service. If I want to change providers, I can click this and select somebody different, such as Donald here. Below that, we have the service categories and the inventory categories drop-down. When clicked, all your service and inventory categories will be displayed. If I were to select one, such as exams, only services associated with the exam category would be displayed. It thins out my services by quite a bit, making it easier to find certain ones. I can also type in a letter, such as C, and it'll go to the first service in the list with that letter. If I hit S, it goes down to the bottom where it says school physical, and so forth and so on. Below the category dropdown, we have the UPC field. If you've purchased the inventory module, you have the option of entering in UPC numbers for particular inventory items. Additionally, you can then purchase a barcode scanner, attach it to your computer, scan the inventory item being sold, and it will automatically find its way here in the main screen. Very convenient. Down below our service list, we have the discount button, which applies discounts. Below that, we have the visit date. Automatically, today's date will populate this field, but if you're playing a little catch-up, you can change this to a previous date to backdate the service. Below that, we have visit counters for the patient's claim. So far, this patient's been in once this year, 11 times total. And this in series is a specific number that you can assign that may not necessarily match up with your total or year-to-date visits. Here we have a checkbox, new services are not a visit. This will prevent services from increasing the visit counter when checked. Over here we have the copy previous services button. This will take all the services that the patient had in their ledger from their previous visit and put them up here. If somebody's coming to you on a routine basis for routine services, clicking this button can save a lot of time. Down in the very bottom left, we have a Cancel and Save Done button. Save Done will close out the screen and save all changes made. Cancel, if I haven't saved my services yet, will remove the most recently added services. For instance, if this isn't what I needed and I had a few more like this one, this one, and this one, I could delete them one at a time using this, but that gets a little tedious. So I could simply hit cancel and then presto, they're all gone. Let's go ahead and add in my CMT again. When ready to make payment, you can note down here what the patient owes with these financial figures. We have the patient section and the carrier section, and in bold here, what the patient has to pay today to be up to date. Currently, the patient had a previous balance of $287 and incurred no balance today, as noted by the 0 or blank amount in this field. but they still owe $2.87. When ready to pay, go to the top left over here and click the Enter New Payments tab. The screen will change to the Payments tab. Now first I want to describe the Use Fast Pay method. For this patient, it has been checked on. What this accomplishes is that every time the patient comes in, it will put the full amount in this field that they owe and use the previous method that they last paid with. In this case, it was cash. If the patient was using a credit card or check before, it would have put that there instead. The patient owes $287, so that is automatically put into this amount field here. If this was not on, this would not have happened automatically, and I would have had to enter $287 myself, and then selected the type. If you do have patients who are going to be paying upfront every single time with the same method every single time, Use Fast Pay method is incredibly convenient. Below the type, we have the ability to add a check number and the date of the payment. Typically, when in this screen, the date of the payment will be today's date. Over here on the right, we can see all the services that have an outstanding balance in the system, ordered from the most recent at the top to the oldest at the bottom. Over here on the right, we can see the balance and then which part is the patient's. You don't see a carrier column here because carrier payments cannot be made in this screen. Here we can see that the payment was automatically applied to this service of 82 cents and this one of $2.05. This will make the patient's balance $0. Back here on the left, under the date, we can see two options. One says apply to this visit first. Another says apply to oldest visit first. What this does is when entering a payment and applying it, it can automatically apply to the most recent visit on down, or if I select the second option, it'll apply to the oldest visit on up. This is entirely your choice, and this choice can be made by clicking this button or this button. If I were to make a change to the payment, such as $1, we can see that it was automatically changed to still match the 82 cents here, but then it reduced itself to 18 cents here. Then the patient would still owe a certain amount, $187 to be exact. If Fast Pay method is not checked on, but instead checked off, and I were to change the amount to something like $1 again, this would not update automatically. I would need to hit this reapply payment amount. And here we can see that the correct amount was applied. Once again, changing it back to $287 does not update this field. I must hit reapply payment amount to get that to read correctly. If Gail here had a larger balance of say $25 and she wanted to pay $20 in cash and $5 on a card, she would pay the $20 in cash first, and then we could click add another payment to get the rest of it in. Currently she only has the $287, so that's all we're going to do for now. Below that we have the Submit to X-Charge button, which is grayed out because we aren't using a credit card. If I select credit card, the button fills up and can be selected. X-Charge is a third-party company that allows you to run credit cards in your office that directly transfer the account from your patient's account to your business's account. Here we can allow partial credit card payments, and here we can check off whether or not the payment was an electronic fund transfer. That is, money never actually exchanged hands but went from one account to another electronically. At the top here, we can click this printer button to print out a receipt. If you've not saved your payment information, a window will appear asking you if you would like to. You need to save your payment information before a receipt can be generated. Here we have a few options, such as patient receipt. When previewed, we can see the receipt for this particular service. Nothing was paid on it, so that it says $0 because the patient owes nothing. We scroll to the bottom, we can see that certain figures such as on account balance, patient balance, and insurance balance. The patient balance is now 0 because a total of $287 was made, just not towards this particular service. Close out of that. You can go back to the services screen, and you can click Save Done. And here we are at the Future Appointment tab for this patient. This is the next part of the loop. We've now checked them in. Their services were rendered. We put the services into the system and accepted payment. And now we're going to schedule her for some future appointments. We see that she's set to come in on the 26th, so that's all set. But let's say she needs to come in the next Thursday as well. Scroll over to the 29th, double click the appointment slot, find the correct time, let's say 11, double click it, and there we have it. Once finished, click the day schedule to go back to today's date. you can now run other patients through the loop to continue your day. It's that simple.